All right, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about input and output tables. And so for the last couple of lessons, we have talked about inequalities, but this time we're going to go ahead and shift back over to equations. So your goal for today with input and output tables is I can complete a function table, and we'll talk about what a function is, by finding the output value for each input value. And so with this, we're also going to revisit coordinate planes, okay? So it's important to freshen up on that as well. All right, so two main definitions for today's lesson, and the first is function. So a function is an equation, and we know what an equation is. It has an equal sign, and we can solve for a variable. But this time, it actually contains two variables. And if you think back to what I just told you about us revisiting the coordinate plane, you're going to have an x and you're going to have a y, okay? So one variable is dependent on the other, and that's our x and our y. Then we have something called a function table. So we know what a function is. It's an equation with two variables, okay? But a function table is a way to organize those variables. And this is just an example of what one looks like. We're going to actually fill one out here in just a minute. Okay, so function table is just a way to organize, and a function is an equation with two variables. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So you should recognize this right here as a function table. That's what we just talked about. And this right here is a function. It's an equation, okay, and it has two variables. We have a y and we have an x. And so what that equation says is it says y equals x minus 7. Now over here, our first column, it tells us what our x's are, and we also call them inputs, okay? And so in the first situation, our x is going to equal 10. So y equals, instead of x, we're going to put 10 minus 7. Oops. And so y equals, what's 10 minus 7? 3. Okay, so how do we put that into our function table? Well, right here it says x minus 7. So instead of x, we're going to put 10. 10 minus 7. Once we subtract 10 minus 7, we're going to get 3. And then it wants to know what our ordered pair is, our x comma y for a coordinate plane. So x is 10, comma y is 3. And that's all there is to it. And then we're going to repeat the process for each line of the function table. So instead of 10 now, our x is going to be 8. And so we have 8 minus 7. Okay? And so our output is going to be 8 minus 7 is 1. And so our ordered pair is 8, comma 1. Now our next one, I actually want you to make that a 16 for me, okay? And so it is 16 minus 7, and the reason why is it's because x minus 7, and our x is 16, and 16 minus 7 is 11. So our x is 16, and our y is 11. And now your function table is complete. All right, let's look at another example. So in this case, our function or our equation is y equals 9x, okay? When they're next door to each other, you'll remember that that's multiplication. So this time I have new x values. So 9 times, and this time my x is going to be 4. So this column here is really where you're showing your work. So 9 times 4 is 36. And your x is 4, and your y, your output, is 36. All right, let's try the next line. 9 times, what's our x this time? 7. 9 times 7 is going to be 63. And so our x is 7, and our y is 63. All right, next we have 9 times, and this time our x is 11. And so 9 times 11 is 99. So our x is 11 and our y is 99. And that's it. Now, in a little while, we're going to take this one step further and put it on a graph, but not just yet. Let's get used to the table first. Okay, here's our next function, y equals x plus 2. And you'll see here we have new x values. So, instead of x, we're going to put 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2 is 12. So my ordered pair is x first, which is 10, comma, my y, my output, which is 12. All right, next our x value is 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. And so our x is going to be 8, and our y is going to be 10. All right, for our next one, our x is going to be 6. So it's going to be 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. And so our ordered pair, x first, is y, followed, our x first is 6, followed by our y is 8. And just to point out a couple of things now that you're getting used to function tables, this equation right here is the same exact thing as right here, x plus 2. Okay? All right, here's a division one. So let's go ahead and look at this guy here. Y equals x divided by 4. Okay, and you're going to see that that equation is right here. Okay, so our input, our x is 4, so 4 divided by 4, well, that equals 1. And so our coordinate, or our ordered pair is 4, comma 1. Then we have, instead of 4, this time we have 8. So 8 divided by 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. And so our ordered pair is 8, comma 2. And just to remind you, I'm getting my x's from here and my y's from here. And then my next one is going to be 12 divided by 4. And that's going to be 3. And so my ordered pair is 12, comma 3. All right. You go ahead and try these two tables, and I will do them at the same time, and we'll review our answers. All right, if you're not done, make sure that you pause the video because I'm going to go over the answers. So for the first one up here, we have 10 plus 7, which is 17. So our ordered pair is 10, comma 17. The next one is 12 plus 7, which is 19. So our ordered pair is 12, comma 19. Then we have 14 plus 7, which is going to be 21. So we have 14, comma 21. For our next table, we're going to have 4 minus 4, which is 0. So our ordered pair is 4, comma 0. Then we have 7 minus 4, which is 3. So our ordered pair is 7, comma 3. And then for our last one, we have 10 minus 4, which is 6. So our ordered pair is 10, comma 6. And you'll notice here that it just said output. It did not say y. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to pull away the x and y labels and just call it input and output so that you know the input's always going to be x and the output is always going to be y. Okay? All right, go ahead and try these two just a little bit harder, and I will fill them out at the same time. All right, if you're not done, go ahead and hit pause because I'm going to go over the answers. So for our first one, we should have 5 times 8 is 40, which gives us 8 comma 40. The second one, 5 times 10 is 50, which will give you 10 comma 50. For the next one, 5 times 12 is 60, so you should have 12 comma 60. Then for your next table, you should have 3 times 0, which is 0, which is going to give you 0 comma 0. Then you have 3 times 2, which is 6, which is going to give you 2 comma 6. And then you have 3 times 5, which is 15, which is going to give you 5 comma 15. All right, it's at this point in the video that you want to really pause yourself and say, do I understand function tables? If you don't, go back and review the video because we're about to take it up the next level, okay, which is going to be much harder. So if you're still confused, go ahead and pause, rewind and rewatch, or come ask me a question. All right. Now, what's going to happen is we have to determine the rule. And rule is just another way to say the equation, okay? So I'm going to go back a couple of slides here. And you'll notice that this right here is the equation. Y equals x divided by 4. Excuse me. We also have this one, y equals x plus 2. Y equals 9x. Y equals x minus 7. What you'll notice with all of those is that they start with the same thing, which is y equals. Okay? So rule is just another word for what's the equation. So what we're doing now is we're actually going to work backwards, okay? In this case, I have completed the table for you. Your x's are here and your y's are here. And if you hear that digging in the background, that's my dog. And what we need to do is figure out what is the rule, what is the equation. Now, because it always starts with y equals, what I want you to do, and this is the easiest way to do it, is to start with your y's, okay? So I want you to write 24 equals, because we always start with y equals, right? Now, what is the x that goes with it? Well, it's 6. How do I get from 6 to 24? Well, there's a couple different ways I could do it. I could add, I could multiply, on and on and on. But let's just try one way first. So some of you might have said that you can get from 6 to 24 by multiplying 6 times 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to write 4x. Because what that means is 4 times x, which is the 6, will give you 24. But let's try this one right here because it has to work for every line in the function table. So here I have 32 equals. How do I get from 8 to 32? Can I multiply by 4? Yes, because 8 times 32 is, because 8 times 4 is 32. So 4x works for that also, 4 times x. But then let's check this one. Here we have 40. How do I get from 10 to 40? Because it's going to be 40 equals. Can I multiply times 4 also? Yes, I can. Okay? Now check all of these. 4 times 6, does it give me 24? Yes. 4 times 8, does it give me 32? Yes. 4 times 10, do I get 40? Yes. So my rule is y equals 4x. Let's try another one. Okay, so here again we have input, output, x and y. So my rule always starts with y equals. I'm going to circle my first y, which is 7. 7 equals. Now the x that goes with it is 5. How do I get from 5 to 7? Well, I could add 2. So I'm going to do 2 plus x. So 2 plus 5. Does that give me 7? Yes. Let's try the next one. 11 equals. The x with it is 9. How do I get from 9 to 11? Can I add 2? I certainly can. So it's 2 plus x. Try this one right here, 29. 29 equals. The x is 27. Is 27 plus 2 29? Yes. 2 plus x. By the way, you can also write this as x plus 2. Now let's try 54. So 54 equals. Okay, how do I get from 52 to 54? I can add 2. 2 plus x. So again, 2 plus 5 equals 7. 2 plus 9 equals 11. 2 plus 27 equals 29. 2 plus 52 equals 54. So my rule is y equals 2 plus x. Okay, you go ahead and try this one. It's going to be a little bit harder, okay? But again, remember, start with your y value, and we know it always is y equals. So 4 equals, and then how do you get from 16 to 4? Okay, go ahead and pause the video if you're not finished. So this one was a little bit harder, but your rule should be y equals x divided by 4. And you can also write that as a fraction, x over 4. That would work perfectly fine as well. But what's happening is 16 divided by 4 is 4, 36 divided by 4 is 9, and 108 divided by 4 is 27. So that's going to give you your rule. Okay, again, I'm going to have you pause the video and go back if you're still confused, because now I'm going to take it up one more level, okay? So make sure that you're stopping and understanding along the way. All right, let's do example number 7 here. So this time, I give you a table, and this is input, output, and you can put here x, y to help you, okay? But I'm also giving you a coordinate plane, and what you notice is that there's something missing right here, okay? So if you go to point 11, 1, 11, and then up 1, that's going to give you a point on the graph right here. But then it wants to know what is this value right here. Well, go to 12 on the x-axis and up until you hit a point. And this should be 2. So you're going to put a 2 right there, okay? And that's it. All right, let's try this one. So we have 1, 1, 1, 1, okay, that's good. Then over here, we're missing the input. Remember, this is x and this is y. We're missing the input, but we have the output. So we have the 3, the y, so go, 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 go. Here's the dot, and it is 5 for the x. Excellent job. All right, you try this one. All right, if you're not done, pause the video. And if you are done, you should see that it would be, if it kept going, 15. Because we have a dot. It's a perfect straight line. It would hit that dot right there. Okay, go ahead and try this one. Now here you have 2 boxes to fill in. All right, pause the video if you're not done. So you should have gotten 1 and then 8. Now I want to caution you about something. Don't look at this table and think 6, 7, blank 9. This could be a totally different number. It does not have to be a pattern, and in fact, most times it won't be. So make sure that you use the graph. All right, that is the end of this lesson. Please remember to go back, rewind, pause, and always ask me questions because it is pretty tricky.